because just like I'm inspired by these passages, I hope others are. So it says here, Vayechi Yaakov, and that's why Jacob lived, the Eretz Mitzrayim. He lived in the land of Egypt. So the rabbis noticed something here that's strange. It's not in any other part of the Torah. You know, there are laws. How do you write a Sefer Torah? So there has to be between parshas a line. If not a line, at least 9 spaces where you could write 9 letters, but not to here, not in Vayechi. It goes right after the end of Parsha Vayigash. It was the Parsha before. And that's called a stuma. It's closed. There's not an opening space. So the Midrash asks, Lama Parsha Zu stuma mikol haparshiyos shel Torah. Why is this Parsha Vayechi closed right near? That means no space is left between Vayigash and Vayechi. And there are different
Which parsha?
reasons.
Which parsha number?
It's right at the beginning of Vayechi, Parsha Tzadik Vav. Okay, it's again Vayechi Yaakov Beres Mitzrayim, and the Midrash says Lama Parsha Zu Stuma. Stuma means closed. It doesn't have a space between. It's supposed to have a space of 9 letters, but it doesn't. Between parsons is even a whole line, but at least opening. That when there's space, that's called psucha, opening. But this has no opening. So why is it closed? It's saying something to us that it's in no other of the 53 parshios. So the Midrash answers, Elakiven shenifter Yaakov Avinu, because in this parsha, our forefather Jacob, Yaakov, he dies. Therefore, it's closed. Why? Because he's chila shibud Mitzrayim al Yisrael. The enslavement that the Egyptians, it began slowly once he died. Once he was alive, while he was alive, the Egyptians, like he was the most famous person in Mitzrayim, they went to him as a holy person and a godly man, and that's one of the reasons why we see that Yaakov made Yosef swear that he's not going to bury him in Egypt. So one reason is why shouldn't we bury Yaakov? The brothers, he explains it right away. So one reason, I don't want them to make me into a god. That's why I don't want to be buried here. Another reason is, hey, Jacob knew everything that's going to be prophetically. So we knew that the land of Egypt is going to be full of lice. One of the mockers is going to be lice. And lice is going to be crawling under all the bodies that are buried in Egypt. Because I don't want to be buried in Egypt. I don't want that to happen to me. Anyway, so that's the first reason that's given why this parsha again is stuma, closed. Regularly, all the other 52 parshas are open, psuchos. They're not right up against the previous parsha. So another one comes and says, Davracha, Lama hi stuma. Why is it closed? Nitnei shebikesh Yaakov Avinu legalos es haketz. He called his boys together and he said, I want to tell you what's going to be in the end time. When Mashiach comes, he was ready to tell them we would have that knowledge, but no. מפני שביקש יעקב אבינו לגלות את הקץ ונסתר ממנו. It got close. He didn't remember it. He wanted to give over. Look, he didn't want the people to, God didn't want, but it was, if they would know, there would be, if we know exactly when Mashiach is coming, when it's going to be a whole different world, there would be a lot, people would say, well, their enthusiasm in Yiddishkeit would be, and their expectation would be, hey, it's going to be such a long time. Look, he hasn't come yet. And Yaakov was around when he's telling this almost 4,000 years ago. Therefore, it was he gathered them around him, and he's going to tell them. And he wanted to tell them what's going to be the end. People are very interested. How is it? Look, God created the world, and he gave us a Torah, but and they all knew prophetically what the Torah was, but the Torah doesn't tell us when the end time is. The Torah tells us that there will be that end time, that glorious end time, when the world will turn to happiness and all the good things that, and as we will read, in how this chapter, how the Midrash concludes the Parsha Vayechi. But why is it closed? Because Jacob wanted to open the mystery of what's going to happen in the end time. When is Mashiach going to come? And he forgot. It got closed in his mind. That's why the parsha is closed. And another reason, a positive reason, Dover Achar, Lama Histuma. Why is this parsha closed? Mipnei shesasam minenu kol tzoros shebolam. These, while he was in Mitzrayim, the years that he lived in Mitzrayim, the 17 years he lived in Mitzrayim, all the problems, all every way were that were the best years of his life, the 17 years that he lived in Mitzrayim. That's why it's closed, because all his sorrows were closed, didn't come on him. And he lived a wonderful 17 years. And you know what is the gematria of 17 is Tob,
No.
Tes, Vav,
Tov.
Beis, Tob.
Tov.
And
Yeah.
those were the best years of his life. He saw his great grandchildren. He saw Yosef. They had yeshivas. They learned Torah. They lived separate. Yaakov saw to it. They lived separate. They had a yeshiva. The Rebbe asked a very good question. Hey, Joseph, uh, obviously when he's there, he made it for his kids. He made a yeshiva, and for other people that he brought to belief. And so why it says that Yaakov, as Yehuda Sholach, part of Yaakov, he sent Judah down to Egypt ahead of him to make Lahoros, to make a yeshiva. There was already yeshivas in where Yosef lived, and Yosef saw to it. This is assumed. I mean, taken for granted that he made Torah places, schools. So why did he have to send down Judah to make it? So the Rebbe gives an interesting insight, because for a yeshiva, you need somebody to give his total to make it thrive. Get the proper teachers, pay them well, be with what's happening and teaching them how this is stated in the Torah. You have to have somebody who is totally devoted just to the yeshiva. He didn't have any other duties. Well, Joseph could not be totally devoted. He had to be devoted to whole Egypt. He was running the whole Egypt. He was the governor of the whole Egypt. That's why Yaakov had to send down Judah, who was totally given over to run the yeshiva. That's all. He didn't have any activities of running the whole Egypt like Joseph did. So that's why the Rebbe explains Yaakov sent Yehuda down to make a yeshiva, and it would be purely Torah study, and for a man who was into Torah study totally himself. Joseph, was on par with you in learning Torah, but not in administrating the yeshivas. A guy, the one who's going to administer the yeshiva, has to be only into administering the yeshiva. It was an interesting sikha that I learned from the Rebbe, and an inspiring one. Okay, so so we have here. It starts out. There are two. That why is it closed? Because it was a hint. I mean, the shibud started while Jacob was there. The 17 years. Hey, he was the father, the one that was bringing all the wonderful things, making it happen, and he was what should I say? He was revered. But after he died, uh, even though it says that the Shiva didn't get tough until all the tribes, until there was nobody left from the 12 tribes of Egypt. That's when the Shiva really started. And the next book of the Torah, Shemos, begins with the slavery and the liberation from the slavery through Moshe and on the laws and the whole desert experience. That's the next 4 books of the Chumash.
Well, another member of our class has joined us now. Joel Blackford is with us now.
Okay, welcome, Joel.
Shalom, Rabbi Feller. How are you?
Thank God, fine. Thank God, fine. Okay, so the Parsha begins with Vayikru Yemei Yisrael Lamus, the days of Yisrael. He has 2 names. He has Yaakov and Yisrael, but Yisrael is a higher name and has God's name in it, Yisrael Aleph Lamed. And it said, Vayikra Livno Yosef, Vayomer, lo, he told his son Yosef, In Namatosichem Ba'einecha, if you love me, if I have found favor in your eyes, Simna Yotcha Tachas Yerechi, put your hand under my thigh, close to the first mitzvah that God commanded Abraham, the Milah, the circumcision. The person swears has to take a Torah item in his hand. Now we have a Sefer Torah, and throughout the years, but at that time there wasn't a Sefer Torah, there was just one mitzvah, and that was the Milah. So it would the hand has to be put not on the Milah, but near the Milah, on the thigh. The Yerach, the foot. And he asked him, Al Nasik Bereni B'Mitzrayim. This is what I want you to swear to me. When I die, I'm going to die soon. And please don't dare bury me in Mitzrayim. And one of the reasons I don't want to be made into a God. I don't want to, they'll come and they'll pray by me, and it's they look. We find tzaddikim, and in the Jewish faith, all over there. There's where we know we go to pray at the kever of Reb Shimon Bar Yochai. We go to pray at the graves of Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov in the Machpelah, in Hebron, where they're all buried, where Adam and Eve and Abraham and Sarah and Yitzchak and Rivka and Yaakov and Leah. And he had no problem. He wanted to be buried there because they're not making a God out of him. When we go to a tzaddik or a tzaddikis to pray, and you could be, because we go because these people are holy, and we ask them to represent us before God. We are not praying to them. When the hundreds of thousands of people go to the Rebbe's kever, the holy resting place of the Rebbe, in which people, the hundreds of thousands come in the course of the year, and some tens of thousands show up on the Rebbe's yahrzeit, on the Rebbe's birthday. They're not praying to the Rebbe. They're praying, they're asking the Rebbe to mention them as he was the closest person in our generation to the God Almighty, feeling constantly the presence of the God Almighty. So the feeling is, hey, who's closest to the God Almighty in heaven? Also the Rebbe. And so we ask the Rebbe to bring our plea that so-and-so be cured, that so-and-so get married, so-and-so should have children. Hey, when you're on trial, you get the best lawyer. And that's what we're doing. Some people say, I don't want to deify an individual. It's not deifying. And that's why Yaakov thought they would, the people in Mitzrayim would deify. They would make a god out of him, and he didn't want that. It's perfectly all right to be buried with his wife in where his ancestors were buried, Adam, Abraham, and Yitzchak, because they didn't go to pray to them. They went to pray through them, that their prayer should be brought to God by these holy people. Okay, so and it says, so that's why he showed the two reasons. And the other reason, as I mentioned, was that he saw prophetically that there's going to be 10 plagues. One of the plagues is going to be lice, and it's going to be crawling all over the dead people. And he didn't want to be in a place where that's going to happen. But the first reason is the most accepted. So that's why he said, V'shachafti mavosai, when I pass away, lie with my fathers in the next world. But they have to be buried in this world. Everybody has to be buried. That's what it says in one of these chapters. Unisosani Mitzrayim, carry me from Egypt, Kvarti Bikfurasam, bury me in that same plot. Vayema Anochi Esek Borecha. And Joseph said, I will do exactly as you told me. So he swore. And we read both chapter I go to a certain place here.
Yeah.
So I'm reading now from Tzadik Tes in Vayechi Parshat. It's where he says, "Hey asfu v'agida lochem." Where he said he wanted to let them tell them, gather, and I will tell you what's going to be in the end time. That's what he wanted to do. But the Midrash comes up with an interesting teaching. Shemina Osan Zikanim. He appointed them to be elders. Why? Because we see when that language of Asifa, gather, commotion Emar, Ish Voli Shivim Ish, Nizikna Israel. Moshe wanted that they should gather 70 elders who would help him bear the people, keep order, lead. He couldn't. It's when he cried to God, did I bear these people? Are they my kids? I mean, I have to. A tough job, worrying about to be a rebbe. And so he said, give me 70 assistants. So, because this expression was used, Ve'hei asfu, ba'agida lochem, shemina osam zikenim. He made them elders. That means he brought them up in rank. Kamo shemar, isfuli shivimish. And in Bamidbar, it said, take me, bring me 70 people from the elders. B'nemar, he comes to Vishimi, gather together and listen. Ela Hodian Shehain Golin Stay Pomim. It's also it was it was giving over that they're going to these people are going to be exiled twice. The people of Israel. That was hinted to in, even though they didn't tell them what's going to be in the end. And the Baal Shem Tov writes that he had ascension of soul, and he came to the portal of Mashiach. So there's spiritual people who can ascend to the. Again, we know that this world is certainly not the only world. It's the lowest world. It's the world that has choice and a world of action. Next world is the world of consequence. But Mashiach has a special section up there in Gan Eden, in the higher world, and the Baal Shem Tov had the ability to bring, his mind to reach the Baal Shem Tov. And the Baal Shem Tov had the presence of mind to reach Mashiach. And look, the Baal Shem Tov lived 300, 250, 300 years ago. And he was anxious to know. Yaakov here, when he brought together his sons, and he wanted to tell them when the Mashiach is going to come, but it was broken off from him. He couldn't tell them. He knew when the Mashiach would come, but he forgot. He couldn't tell them. Did he ever remember again? Well, he didn't live long after he gathered them. So when of course when he ascended to heaven, he remembered, but that was too late to give it over to his sons and their family. And what did everybody? What did the Mashiach tell about Shem Tov? That when he asked him, "When are you coming?" When is the master going to come? It's already time. We're sitting in the exile 1,600 years at the Baal Shem Tov's time. It's already 1,900 years in our time, almost 2,000 years. When is he going to come already? And Mashiach tells the Baal Shem Tov, when your teachings of Hasidus will be spread to the whole world, and that's the innermost part of Torah. When people will know that, and that's the teachings that give you a feeling and recognition of the presence of God in your life, the imminence of God in your life, and that's what that's what who carried out that mission is the Rebbe in our time. And he's got over 4,000 presences and positions all over the world who are teaching this. So, and the Rebbe told us this is the 7th generation, and Mashiach is going to come in this generation. Okay? And a person waiting for Mashiach, when the Rambam writes in the 13 principles of the faith, and the 12th principle is the coming of Mashiach, and there it says, "Achakalo b'chol yom sheyavo." I wait for him every day. And that really means every day, not down the line. He's gonna. I'll wait. The possibility is there that he could come today. The probability, hey, that's we've been saying it for 19 years, but the possibilities could happen now, and that's what we really have to hope and pray for. The events that we see today in the world, those encompassing Israel, and those you see a situation like what's happening in California with so much destruction. How can that happen? And we don't know the answers, but it's not thank God it's not a regular occurrence. We see again what's going on in Israel. In Israel, there are a lot of miracles, you know, and Israel is about to wrap up that war, and we will see. Let's hope we will see the miracles. We know that we're all in the hands of God, and we can talk to God, and we should talk to God. God wants us to talk to Him. God wants us to love Him. And God is not an abstract idea. God is a being. He's a supreme being. And He's giving me the energy to speak and you the energy to learn and listen. And so anytime, and the Talmud says that Mashiach is going to take us by surprise. Everybody's going to be surprised when Mashiach comes. So let's wait. And let's hope for that surprise quickly. Okay. Um, so Jacob told them, even though he didn't give them the prophecies of what's going to be in the end time, but he just told them that they're going to be subject to 2 exiles. I think the exiles that happened after the first base of Midrash was destroyed and the second base of Midrash was destroyed. Because actually there are more than 2 exiles. The exile that was brought on by Babylonia and Greek and the Roman, and that's Babylonia, Babel, and Yavan, and the Persian exile and the Greek exile and the Roman exile, and that's the one we're in now, and that's lasting the longest. But here he said that he hinted them that they'll have 2 exiles, and I believe that's the exile. 2 of the Beis Hamikdash, both Beis Hamikdash that we had. The first one lasted 410 years, and the second Beis Hamikdash lasted 420 years. And we haven't had a Beis Hamikdash since. There were 70 years between the first Beis Hamikdash and the second Beis Hamikdash. And we hope and we pray that in
Yeah.
our time, Mashiach will
You know
come
what?
and build the Beis Hamikdash. Nobody, the best architects in the world, would have all the there are many beautiful models of the Beis Hamikdash made. The actual Beis Hamikdash has to be made by Mashiach under his supervision, because he knows exactly where everything is, and everything has to be perfectly exact. And so Mashiach come, and that's one of the things that he has to do to prove that he's Mashiach. He has to build the Beis Hamikdash on exactly where its place is. And there's something else standing there. It's got to get out of the way. You can blast it out of the way, or we have um, building movers that can take it and put it in a different place far away where it won't be on it. It can be used by the people who built it, and they can use it as they wish when they move it. but it's got the Temple Mount is for the temple. Okay, so then the first one that the first one that he blesses is Reuben. So we'll try to understand this, what he told him. He says, Reuben Bechoriata. Reuben, you're my firstborn. Atu Bechori, you are my first. Bechor means the first. Ata Umeli, you're like me. Ani Asisi Pei Shana. I was actually 80 and 84 years. Afilo tipas keri lo raisi. In 84 years that I lived, I didn't even see a drop of semen leaving from me. He was so holy. And because he was so holy, his image, he was so in sexual relationships, he was so holy that the first after he was 76 when he came to he was 63 when he left his parents and he went to get married, and he was 14 years in in the yeshiva. The Rebbe makes a big deal that he left his parents and he's going to find a bride. How does he prepare for marriage? He goes 14 years to the yeshiva. Doesn't go to all kinds of clothing stores and reading psychological books and all that. He's learning to learn Torah. Okay, so from 63 and then he was 77 when he came to Lavan, and he made a deal with Lavan that he loved Rachel, and he'll work for him 7 years till he made that up. He'll work 7 years for him, for Lavan to give him the right to marry and to marry Rachel. Okay, so 77 and 7 is 84. So he was, and that was the first time it wasn't with Rachel. Laban was a big swindler, and he substituted Leah, and then he gave him the baloney story that when he asked him, "Why did you do that?" "I worked for you for Rachel." He said, "Well, in it's customary not to give the younger daughter first. We give the older daughter." So, but you worked for me another 7 years. We'll do the Sheva Brachas now for Leah, and then we'll do another right away. You'll get married to Rachel, and that's you'll have 2 wives. Anyway, so what he told his son? He told his son that Reuven Bechori Ata, Ata Bechori, Ata Hu Domali, you're like me. Ani asisi pei shana. Afila chipas
You know,
keni lo reisi. In 80 years, he means 84 years exactly, but in his, he didn't see even a drop of a semen coming from
great.
his body until he used it, because that is uh, men have to be very careful, uh, not look at the wrong things and bring dreams of exotic dreams or what have you that involve women in the dream, and much worse than that. If a person is not allowed to, but if a person forces the carry out of his organ, the sin called masturbation, and he can do tshuva for that and stop it and do tshuva, and that's what you got to do. But here he's telling his son, and actually all the sons, that I didn't see a drop. His mind was always in the right place. He was always learning Torah or saying Tillim, as we learned that he said the whole Tillim. And every night as he watched for the safety of Laban's sheep, and they said, that's what he did, was because he said Tillim because he couldn't learn, because he couldn't put his whole mind into the learning, because then it would be taken off watching the sheep. So he couldn't do that, but he could say Tillim and watch the sheep well and not take his mind off the sheep. According to his Midrash. But anyway, so he tells Reuben, you came from the first drop. And Yeser Se'es v'Yeser Os, you were Yeser Se'es explains that Reuben, you are my firstborn. The Midrash explains this phrase as a rhetorical question. Atahu b'chori, you are my firstborn. Atahu domali, Jacob was saying, Reuben, are you my firstborn? But he was, but he didn't. He says why he didn't get the privileges and the benefits of a firstborn. Are you similar to me in my righteousness? Ani asisi pei dalet. See, it says here in the Bereshis Vayechi from Midrash Rabbah from Ashkel, and here he disregarded. You have to say, I was in my 80th decade, the first time the bigger seed left me. But here he said it very specifically, like I made you the counting of the years from his time he was 63 till he actually had relations with his wives. and and so he says, why I lived for 84 years without seeing discharging even one drop of seminal emission. So he says that his first vigor. Ato Yisrael Kippur Rishona Shali. That is, you were the result of my first drop of seminal emission. That's what he's saying. Hey, and therefore, you could have got a lot. Uh, he told him, Kochi Bereshis Oni, you are you were the first one, my power and the first of my strength. Ato Yisa Tipa Vishainashali, you were my first drop that was emitted from me. Yeser Seish Yeser Oz. You should have gotten uh, uh, the benefit, which is called Seish. That means my lifting. And I mean, you can say right away what it means. Yeser Seish Yeser Oz. You you should have. It's going to say that Seish is the Kahuna, and O's strength is the monarchy. And so the Midrash right away says, Shlosa Ksarim Hayu Biadecha. You had 3 crowns. Hakahuna, and that you were from my very first drop, my very first strength that left me. That made you eligible. You were the Bechor. You were 3 crowns were in your head. Shlosha Ksarim Hayu Biadecha. Hakahuna, kingship. You could have been the high priest. Hamalchus, you could have been the king. Ubechora, and you had also the rights of the firstborn. How do you know that the Kuna means that? Akuna deceive. Yeser says, Bain says, Elakuna. Says very means that Kahuna. Deceive, it says, Vayisa Aaron es Yadav. Aaron the Kohen, Yeser says, Vayisa lifted. And where do you see that the kahuna is bounded up with lifting? You see it, hey, till today, we see it. The kahuna, you go to shul. Unfortunately, some synagogues and temples don't have this anymore. But in every Orthodox shul, on Yom Tov, you see the Kohanim going up to the front and raising their hands, spreading out their hands and their fingers. And that happens every Yom Tov. And in some shuls, it happens every day. The Sephardic shuls. I've been present at a shul in Florida where they do it every day. And that's so lifting Se'esh means lifting what? Lifting the arms for blessing the people with their arms raised. good, and you could just they could say the blessings just with the mouth. No. You got a blessing. A kohen has to raise his hands and separate his fingers, and you don't look at him while he's blessing. Anyhow, so we have that service still till today. So that's where we see he says to him, you had yesterday's, and you also had the Malchus. You had in your hands to be the monarch of the Jewish people. You were the firstborn, and you had in your hands the three Bieser Ois. You had more strength. Bein Ois El Malchus. Ois, strength, means royalty, Malchus. Yksiv, Vayiten Oz Lemalko. The book of Shmuel, it says, and God gives his strength. Vayiten Oz Lemalko, to his king. And then the Bechorah, Yksiv Reuven, Bechorah, that's from Yaakov's own mouth that you're really my Bechor. But you messed it up. The Barato, son, you blew it. The Barato, you lost it. Reuben was unfortunately very sadly a loser. And we'll discuss pretty soon why did he lose it? Umi Garam Lach, what caused you to lose it? All these three things, the kahuna, the royalty, and the bechora. Pachas kamayim, because you're swift as flowing water in a certain action that you did, Altosa. Therefore, you can't have anything more than the other brothers. You won't get the kahuna, the malchus, and the bechora. Umahu nutricon. What is this pachas kamayim? What is it? What is it? What is it? The first letters of Rabbi Eliezer Omar. Pachas is pachasta. He's slachta. Oh mi'al sabarecha. You threw the yoke off your neck. What was Reuben's sin? Reuben's sin was he changed. It looks like that he lived with Bilhah. He had a relationship with her, but no, God forbid. But he was mad that Reuben was mother. His mother was Leah, and after Rachel died, his primary dwelling, Yaakov, was with Rachel. That was the and Leah was secondary. Although it turned out that Leah was buried with Yaakov and Rachel wasn't. Yaakov buried her on the way she is coming into Israel, and millions of people go to pray at Rachel's cave. I've been to Rachel's cave. Um, and he felt that after Rachel, okay, Rachel was the one he worked for that was known, and Laban, Grandpa Laban was a swindler, a crook, and he changed it, and he stuck Leah in there first, and then he first gave Rachel, but Rachel was the one he worked for. She had the neshama of Mashiach, and well, she had actually Rachel had that, but he saw in her things that he didn't see in Leah. So he, but Yaakov didn't make. So he thought that his mother should. Rachel died terrible, but he buried, and now he should change his couch. His first his first love, his first priority should be his mother, Reuben's mother. But instead, Jacob put his couch in Beulah, who was just she was Beulah and Zilpah. They remember they were the two that were given along with the. They were sisters also, but all of them were from Laban, but they were from different mothers. But anyway, he changed his tent number one, his relations with
Okay.
his couch was he changed it to Billah, but the sin of room was he took out of there and put it into his mother's tent. But that his doing that was counted as if he had relations with Billah. He never did, but that's his doubting why is in his running right away. His Pachas Kamayim is running right away to change what his father had put his couch into Bilhah, Rachel's secondary wife, and not into his mother. She was a prime. She wasn't a mistress to anybody. She had a mistress Zilpah, and so he got it. He changed it, and Yaakov had a reason why he did that, and because Reuben did that, and he mixed into that, and quickly he didn't even ask his father. He just quickly changed to put the number one place of meeting of the spouses in Leah's tent because he felt that was the right thing. Hey, well, it's not up to you; it's up to your father. And that sin blew it. He didn't get the the rights of the Chorah. He didn't get the kingship, and he didn't get the Kuna. Who got it? Moshe got the kingship, and his brother Aaron. In other words, the Shevet Levi got it. The kingship came from Levi, and the Kahuna came from Levi.
So I have like 400 devices, which 400. You can text me. I mean, that's okay. Yeah. For the issues. I get it. I don't think it's gonna work. Exactly.
And then he shall be the conclusion.
You kind of do that. It feels.
There's a parsha in the Chumash that it's really not understandable. That Reuben found,
You can do
he
it.
went out into the field and he found
It's
some
okay, don't.
mandrakes. Anybody here ever found a mandrake? Anyhow, it was
I can also leave it. Why are you
vegetation thing, a growth
like you plan?
plant looked like a person and was
6:11
supposed
and it
to
ends
help
at 5:26.
procreation. Looking
Yep.
at it,
Like in the
staring at it for a
look.
long time, and Leah's son,
Let's start today. And how about your driving?
Reuben found mandrakes
White knuckle
and he
driving.
gave it to his mother.
When you
But Rachel
especially
had
when you have
a
driving.
fertility problem, not Leah.
Very.
And so Rachel, when she saw that he found this, must have been obviously a rarity, and this helps procreation. So Rachel said, "I would like to have I would
Oh,
like
what's
to
asking?
have your sons that he brought you the
Yeah, I just know your
fertility
son. Oh, good.
uh,
What a good
fertility
person.
action that has that. Again, I suppose it was a big rarity, and she was all excited. Um, and she, but again, these sisters were very close.
You're one of those that'll get it done.
You know, on the wedding night that Rachel was supposed to be given to Yaakov, she saw that Leah was being prepared.
Right.
Now, she had made arrangements that there were
Yeah.
signals because Jacob knew what a crook Laban was, and he knew they would try to pull a stunt. So they gave signals that would make aware that it's Rachel. She had her signals that she gave to that they had made that he'll know that only Rachel could
Opening
know,
yellow with blood, no snot.
and Leah or Bilhah and Zilpah couldn't know that. so he couldn't switch it on him, but he did. Why? Because Rachel saw that her sister was being prepared, and she gave the signal. She said, she didn't want her sister to be embarrassed. You can imagine that everything is done in the dark, and they had to give the signals. Couldn't thing in Judaism, everything marital relations are done in the dark. And but so the way he could know it, because it was the signals that they had, and she gave her sister the signals for the sacrifice, and that's how she wasn't embarrassed, and that's why he thought he was living with Rachel. His relationship with Rachel, because he gave him the signals, the right signals. But look what sacrifice it was for Rachel to give him. And she confessed to him. I mean, she told him, I didn't want her to be embarrassed. It, so
Oh, but I
now,
feel like maybe a
she,
tournament. Why?
when they got
You said that, and then
the mandrakes, the Dudati from her grandfather,
oh, really?
Rachel
Oh,
said,
maybe Michael. Let's say he's not feeling well, or
please
yeah,
give me the
must have been
mandrakes
going.
that should help my fertility. And therefore, he's supposed to be
Yeah,
with me tonight, but I'll give that privilege to you.
I think I would.
So that's what happened. And but who was the one that brought the mandrakes?
Just
It
Sally.
was Reuben.
I see him clean up. He's very careful. Stand here. He's trying to cry 2 weeks. Right?
Anyway, it concludes that because you mixed into a marital life, you will be ostracized uh, um, until there will come ובפני שחללת עשי אבי מרחוק, you will be ostracized עד שיבוא Moshe, until Moshe Rabbeinu will take you out of your being ostracized, apart from the other tribes. Shekosher bo Moshe Allah, the one who says it says you. By Reuben, it says Allah Chilalta Mishkabi Allah. You made my procreation mundane. The same word
Yeah, that is true. Right.
is used by Moshe. It says that Pnei Shechalalta also having Melechak, you will be ostracized ad Sheyavo Moshe till Moshe comes. Shekosho Moshe Olof. Moshe went up. Biyati Roishka. Moshe will he will like what presidents do. They have the right of undoing a sentence that was put on people, and Moshe will come and he
Pardon.
will undo your
Pardon.
ostracism, you're being ostracized,
Pardoning.
and be karvecha. He will bring you close. You become one of the boys again. Hado dechsi yechi Ruben. That's when Moshe says yechi Ruben. Ruben should live. He didn't do such a terrible. He rectifies him. Yatsa Ruben b'Ozlav Kutabos. Reuben came out of that ostracism. He says here.
Don't.
It says Reuben heard this. It says over here, Moshe came and
Maybe bridge.
brought Reuben back into the fold by saying, "See, Reuben should live." I mean, he was
Oh.
ostracized. His tribe was they're and when he heard, it says, when he heard the rebuke of his father, Yatsa Reuben ba'oznav mikutofos. His ears were snipped when he heard the terrible thing. But Moshe put him back into with all the tribes are called Shifte God, the tribes of God. And this was just inner dealings that they did, and he was Moshe brought him back from the ostracism and put him back into the fold. And he never knew him out of the fold because he was always considered one of the tribes. And the Yaakov tribes are called
I
the
saw.
Shifte. I just want to read, and we should. I want to read the last what the parsha ends with. It says, that when Yaakov died, there was all kinds of mourning. But in the midst of bringing him up to Eretz Yisrael, and Yosef told his Paro that, I swore to my father that I would bring him up, and I've got to bring him up to the Holy Land. And so in one place, he made a mourning period for when he went up before we got to Eretz Yisrael. It says, Vayas Lo'abiv Abel Shivas Yami. He made a mourning period for his father 7 days. Now that's stuck till today. Lama Osim Shiva. Why did they make 7 days? Should be a mourning period. So the uh, the Midrash says, why is mourning for somebody who passes away 7 days? Keneged Shiva Simbe Hamishta. 7 days that they are partying when first marriage, chassan and kala. Uh, so you say Sheva brachos under the chuppah, and you say it every night. You have to get that it should be a Sheva brachos, a meal, a suda called Sheva brachos, and they make these brachos again. So in every Hasidic Omar, they make Sheva brachos. Sometimes it's not possible, but it's got to be temple. And there has to also be somebody who wasn't at the wedding. And so they're like doing a celebration for the person who wasn't at the wedding, but you do it with or without. You have it. And but the reason that morning is 7 is uh, Keneged Shiva Shemei Mistim, and God is like telling them, Amar Lahem HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Holy Listener is saying, Ba'olam hazeh nistaratem im hatzadik hazeh. Um, in this world, when Jacob passed away, or he's somebody who was a tzaddik, Ushmartem lo Abel Shivas Yamim, you had mourning for 7 days. Um, so, what it says, Keneged, the great Simcha is a Sheba Brachas by a Chosn and Kala. But uh, that it says the mourning period that you mourn for a loved one uh, puts a spoiler in the Sheva Brachas. In your overall looking at this world is just a world that has happiness, but it has mourning. But God says, "Ba'olam hazeh nitzaratem im hatzadik." In this world, you lived along with the tzaddik, and then when he died, you really nitzaratem. You felt sorrow. Ushmatem lo eva. You gave this tzaddik shiva siyomim that you didn't party or do anything. It was always you kept his honor. But you should. That's in this world where you have happiness, and but you also have mourning. You have Sheva brachas for weddings, and you have 7 days of mourning for people passing away. So that's what God tells them. This is this world. You have all kinds of happenings. But La'olam haba, in the next world, and that's what you believe in very strongly. Ani machzer also Eva l'simcha. I will turn every morning into joy. Shenemar, v'apachti evlam l'saso. I will turn upside down. Their mourning into joy. There won't be any mourning or reason for it. Nobody will die. V'nichamtim, I will console them. V'simachtim, and I will cause them to rejoice over all the passings, miyagom, from their sadness. And kishem shani menachem eschem. God is saying this now, just like I am consoling you. Nechama is a consolation, condolence. Kach ani anachem l'tzion. I will, the whole Israel, the whole temple, Yerushalayim. I will be menachem l'tzion l'chol chorvoseh, and all her rooms. I will fix them. Ke'inyan shenemar, as it is stated in Isaiah, Kinichem Hashem Tzion, like God will console Tzion by building the temple. Nichlam kol chovoseh. Any place in Israel that was destroyed, God will build up, console the people that were struck there. V'yasem midbara ke'eden, he will make the desert from Israel into like Gan Eden. V'arvaseh kegan Hashem, and its ruined places like the garden of God. Shasam b'simcha, joy and happiness. Yimatzava will be found in Israel. Chayda v'kol
She ate his back.
zimra. Thanks to the Jews giving thanks, and call Zimra, the voice of song. So, and that's how it concludes. So that's Messiah B'toiv. You always, anytime you finish something, you're supposed to finish with the joyous, not a mourning. But here, this is brought on the pasuk that it says in the Chumash, "Vayas Aviv Abel." And when a person dies, it's Abel in the morning. Hey, there's a pasuk that we say every day. B'nai Yerushalayim Hashem. God will build Jerusalem. B'nai Yerushalayim Hashem. Nitchei Yisrael Yechanes. He will gather those who are spread all over the world and bring them back, in gathering of the exiles. That's all of us. Those who aren't living in Eretz Yisrael. And God will heal the hearts. And the I'll read from the tefillin that we say every day. that's to say that he will heal the broken hearts, and that goes on the people who that goes on Kriyas Hamesing. Bonei Yerushalayim Hashem. That's in the Tehillim, and we say it in the Hallelujah. Here, Bonei Yerushalayim Hashem. God will build Jerusalem. First step, Mashiach does. He builds Jerusalem. And that's how he proved that, because there'll be a lot of opposition, but he can deal with the opposition of building Jerusalem. And there will people who won't like it because the buildings will be removed from there. It has to go back to the temple, and Mashiach will be able to do it. And those who are maybe they'll be glad about it because they know that the Mashiach will give them, everybody will be happy, hopefully. But the Jews will certainly be happy. So, Bonei Yerushalayim Hashem, Nitzchei Yisrael Yichanes. He will bring in from the whole world with the gathering. Everybody got to go to Israel. And then it says, Harope Lishpurei Lev. He heals the broken hearts. The broken hearts, all those who have lost loved ones. He'll heal the broken hearts. How? By bringing the loved ones back. That's the 13th principle of the faith, Tfias. And that is what that was what alluded here in this Kapitel 2 and 147. And again, he heals the broken hearts. Now, that also means that, hey, if somebody has a heart problem and needs a surgery, or he needs a pacemaker, God has given the knowledge of how to do that, how to fix the hearts. I sent it once to my cardiologist and loved it. So look it up in chapter 147 in Psalms. So that's again, that's hey, that's not just something to look forward to, but like the whole Torah is Torah's emes and Torah's chaim. This is part of Torah. This is good. So the tragedy that we see here, and that's what we mean by the mourning, that doesn't happen in the next world. And that's where the consoling comes. And bring the pasuk, Nichem Hashem Zion, and God will console Zion. Anybody have anything to say that they would like to say? Please do so.
Thank you very much for the lesson, Rabbi. Thank
Huh?
you. Thank you very much for the lesson tonight. Thank you very
Thank,
much.
thank you for being here and to listen to the lesson. Anybody got anything you want to say? Dr. Sharon, Moshe,
Is
Joe?
there any news from members of the community living in California?
I'll tell you, I haven't heard. I wish I would. I have many friends, and this is they're sad about the losses to everybody, Jew or not Jew. But I don't have. I'm gonna call every Shabbos. I mean, every Erev Shabbos, I get a call from the head of Lubavitch in California. Every Erev Shabbos, he calls me, Rabbi Shlomo Kunin, and I'll ask him, what's the story? The Jewish properties, I know. I think they said that the fire is in Malibu. I think that's one of the most Jewish settled. It's a conflagration that we've never heard. It's the worst fire in history.
Yes, yes.
Is it an act of Hashem?
You have to say that Hashem allows it to happen. We don't begin to know the essence of God, why He does things like this. And look, 5 people were killed, hundreds of thousands misplaced. They happened to run, evacuate the houses. Uh, but we know all of these things, act of God. How, first of all, does anybody know how that fire started?
No.
No, but we know that the that the shrubbery had not been cleaned, so it would be susceptible to quick fire. And there had been no rain, very little rain, so everything was very dry. And then with the winds, just one little spark could cause the conflagration. Um, so no one has pinpointed someone who started the fire, but because of the dryness and the condition of the vegetation, it would just take any small spark, and it would cause this problem. Yeah.
There are always fires. There are
Yeah.
always fires. That's how the forest renews itself, but they usually burn out. But the conditions, as Jonathan said about the wind and the dryness,
As who
uh,
said? Yeah. Um, well, we have to pray for the all humanity that's there. You can imagine the I saw on my PCA's telephone that shows. I saw a piece of news. I mean, they showed it on the screen there about the terrible conflagration and people saying they lost everything and people crying. Listen, we don't know why, but God, just like we ended this parsha, there was so much sadness in the Torah and things that happened, and but God will bring gladness where there was sadness, and it's not a fairy tale. It's a consolation, and God tells us look forward to consolation. Uh, there are these just are the just like it's just like uh, the message that they're giving, and that's in the explanation. They ask why is mourning 7 days uh, to make you understand that the 7 days of partying by a wedding, you know, there's just like there's partying, there's mourning. That's in this world.
Yes.
But in the next world, there's only simcha, joy.
Amen.
That's a good analogy. Thank you.
Yes.
That helps.
Very good.
That
Very
reconciles
good.
it.
Very good.
So, God willing, we'll see each other. Let me wish you all a good Shabbos. Again, tomorrow is a fast day. It's not the major fast day. Major fast day that is Yom Kippur. And even then, if a person is in danger and has any endangerment of fasting, they have to eat. So there have been very big rabbis, tzaddikim, who had to eat, and the doctor said you must eat because if you don't eat, you're not in a position to fast, and it can endanger your life. Okay, person got to eat. But that's on Yom Kippur, so everybody tries to fast. But this fast, these are fasts which were not ordained in the Torah. The rabbis made these fasts. The Nevi'im, but it says in Zechariah that the fast of the fourth, that is the 17th of Tammuz, and the fast of the fifth, that's in the fifth month, that's Tisha B'Av, and the fast of the seventh, that's Tzum Gedalia, and the fast of the 10th, that's tomorrow, the 10th of Teves, will be turned to days of gladness. That's what it'll be no more fasting. And hey, it could happen that Mashiach come right away. We wouldn't have to fast. But again, if this is not a fast that was ordained by in the Torah, we still, those who can keep it should keep it. But the fast starts. The good news is that you could eat up to 6 o'clock in the 6:11 in the morning, and it's considered the fast starts 6:11 in the morning, so you can eat till then, and that could have you eat a lot at night. You don't need to eat during the day, and I'll take my morning pills, God willing, before 6:11, and hope for food. Uh, okay, let me wish you all a very good Shabbos, and we'll see you, Mr. Hashem, next week, hopefully in Jerusalem.
Thank you.
Good Shabbos.
Good
Good
Shabbos.
Shabbos. Good Shabbos.